All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Keith Hensley with CoreLogic, and this is going to be our topic for today on this webinar. It's on Hotsheets versus the Market Watch. We're just going to kind of compare the two. Hopefully, you'll see a lot of similarities between the Hotsheet and Market Watch, and you can also see just how they differ also. One's going to be easier than the other, and the other's going to be a little bit more complicated just because there's so many different combinations that you can do with it there. So hopefully this will make sense. And of course, we'll always start with the easy one first. So what I'm going to do is close down my screen here, and I'm going to jump into your matrix system here. So as you can see, I'm in the Williamsburg Multiple Listing Service. So hopefully everyone's seeing this screen here with the home page and with all the widgets here within Matrix. But I'm just going to talk about the Market Watch today and Hotsheets today. And as you can see, you can just move these little widgets around that you can put them where you like it. So I just kind of put them up there at the top. So we can just focus on these here. Now, with the Market Watch and the Hotsheet, they're both meant to be a tool for you to stay on top of, to see what's happening in your territories that you market, that you work in. And when you first log in, you'll notice that you have a customized button down at the bottom, and the way they're set up to pull down every area in your MLS. So if it's a listing in your MLS, it'll show up on the Market Watch or the Hotsheet there. But 9 times out of 10, most people don't really care about listings on the other side of town or on the other end of the market area of your MLS. So a lot of people like to just come in here and configure this or customize this to just be your farming area, if you will, your territory that you work in. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to really utilize this and personalize it to your likings. Now, first thing I want to say is the Hotsheet and Market Watch are very similar. You'll see on the Market Watch that they both down here, you'll have one for every property type. You'll have a residential, a multifamily, lots and land, rental, commercial, and cross property. Now, cross property is all of these property types rolled into one. It's just one big cross property. And here under cross properties where you can do a residential and a multifamily, and maybe even lots of land or rental or just everything. Okay, so that's all property types there. Well, you'll notice on the Hotsheet, you'll also have the all property types here also: residential, multifamily, lots, land, rental, commercial, and cross property. Okay. You'll also notice they both have a time period. So on the Market Watch, you can do 24 hours. This goes back the last 24 hours. So if it's 11:06 a.m. today on Monday, it'll go back to 11:06 a.m. on Sunday. And it's always that sliding 24-hour window. Well, same thing with the Hotsheet here, 24 hours. We also have today, which means as soon as it hits midnight on Monday morning, it becomes 0 and it starts counting up throughout the day on new listings or price changes, back on market statuses, and so forth there. And then once it hits midnight tonight, it goes back to 0 and starts counting back over again. Well, the Hotsheet has the same thing here too. It also has a 3-day back window, today and the previous 3 days, and then 7 days. So the last week, you can find out the listings here, the last 7 days. Well, the Hotsheet has the same thing here. But you also notice that the Hotsheet has a little bit more. It has a custom feature, which allows you to go back all the way up to 31 days or 30 days back, and you can pick your time period and run it that way so that you can customize it. So that's one little additional benefit to using the Hotsheet there. It also has a new only. This new only it's actually, I kind of think these two are a little complicated just by the words they are, because I know when I first learned it, I was like, well, what does new only mean, and so forth there. So what new only means is, if I happen to run this Hotsheet it's only going to find me the new one since I've been logged in. So if I logged in maybe, let's say 30 minutes ago at 10:38 a.m. and I used new only, it's only going to find a new one since that 10:38 time period, since I have been logged in. So that's what the new only does. This session though is a timestamp. I always like using the initials here, TS, instead of this session. It's a timestamp. So if I run this right now at 11:08 a.m. on Monday, and I don't run a hot sheet again until Friday night at 7:08 p.m., it's going to go back to 11:08 a.m. on Monday and show me only the ones back to this session that I just ran. So it's a timestamp. It timestamped it for you. So if you do that, then it's only going to get the one since I just ran it now. So no overlap, if you will, because I could do the 7 days back or even 3 days back, but then I'm going to get some duplicates in there. Notice, Rebecca, you've got problems with volume. I don't have any volume. I'm just kind of curious, Rebecca, can you hear me at all, or just kind of low out there? If not, maybe log off, log back in. Okay, so hopefully everyone else can hear me okay. The volume's okay with everyone else. I think I would have heard more if that was an issue there. Okay, thanks, Charlene. Sounds like you can hear me okay. Good, thank you. Okay, so that's what this session means. So this session is pretty cool feature, and I could show it to you here in a bit once we go into it there. Now, the Market Watch is very simple to use. It's what's out there is that you can. Okay, good. You've got it on the phone now, Rebecca. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear it. The Market Watch, you got these different types of changes, listings that change to back on market or maybe just expired or leased or new listing. And now remember, it's my time period here, 24 hours. So in the last 24 hours, there's been one new listing, 9 pending, one price decrease, and so forth there, and 3 listings that have sold. Now that's just for residential also. If I change it to a multifamily, you can see in the last 24 hours, doesn't look like much has happened. If I change it to cross property, now remember, this is all property types here. So there you go. So let's just focus on residential for now. So one of the first things you're going to want to do with the Market Watch is customize it. Because if you don't customize it, remember, you're going to get the entire MLS. And that might be fine with you. You might say, you know what, that's fine. It's, you know, I'm all over the place. I'm right in the center anyway, so that's good to see. So I'm going to click on customize, and honestly, there's not much you should customize within a Market Watch. I don't recommend, anyways. What I would recommend, or what I typically see people do when they customize the Market Watch, is they just pick a certain area of town, a certain county or city, certain zip codes or subdivisions that they want to keep an eye on, or even draw a map shape that you can, you know, kind of customize yourself and get it just right. Because maybe you do part of a county here and a part of a county here, and so forth there. Donna, you said you cannot hear. How do I do that? Check the audio option on toolbar. Okay, hopefully that can work there for you. So yeah, you could. I don't think you're going to put in beds and bathrooms and stuff like that, because remember, a Market Watch is just for your benefit, for you to kind of pay attention to a certain neighborhood, to a certain market, if you will. You're watching a certain market. So, you know, you probably don't care about how many houses, you know, with bedrooms and bathrooms. This is not a search for a certain client. This is just for you to overwatch territory, your market. So for this example, I'm going to say Williamsburg. That's all I care about. So when I save this here, the only things I'm seeing here are new listings, pending, price decreases, price increases pertaining to Williamsburg. That's it. Okay, if it's outside of the Williamsburg area, I don't care to watch it or stay on top of it. Okay, now I can always come back in and hit customize again. And then let's say this time I want James City and York. Okay. So then I hit save. So now I'm just watching those three areas. And I know I've already customized it because next to customize it says reset. So that's a clue or indicator that I've customized it. I can also then go to multifamily, and I haven't customized this one. So if this is one I like to watch also, this property type, I can go in and customize it and do the same thing, and so forth and so forth. And then, like I said, cross property, I can choose and customize it and maybe have the same cities. Oop, I didn't do New Kent, I want York. There we go. And then save it there. So really, the market watch is really that simple. Okay, and another nice thing, not only is it simple, but it's also visual. People can just look at this here and look at it there. And Charlene, you said just click to add more than one. You got to hold down the control button, Charlene. Hold down the control button, and I'll do that again there. Yeah, so because if I just click like that there, the others go away. Yeah, you're welcome, Charlene. And that happens on any time there's multiple options you can choose from. You got to hold down the control and pick it there. And I'm glad you asked that question because a lot of times I just assume people know that, and really shouldn't do that, I guess. So thank you. So there's Williamsburg, York, and James City there. So you can just pick, and like I said, I could have went up to my map search, open this up, and then I could draw on a radius or a polygon and just drew my shape there, draw my shape. Okay, so I'll just hit cancel there. So yeah, you can customize it, and it's a visual. So some people call the Market Watch a visual hot sheet, or a hot sheet at a glance, I think they call it. So you can just glance at it and see it because it's really simple and to the point. And as soon as you log in every morning, you're drinking your coffee, reading your paper, and getting started on the day, you can kind of see what's been happening the last 24 hours. And it's click on new listings, and there's the new listings. Then you can go up here and change it to the price decrease. There's only one price decrease. You can see it decreased by 2.99%. If you hover over that, sometimes you can, you're right there. You can see the price. It was $469.9 or $469, and then it dropped down to $455. So just by hovering over that little area there, you can get it. Okay. So, and if I change this back to solds or change it to sold, you can see these were pending, now they're closed. So it's really simple, short and sweet, to the point. Okay, any questions on the Market Watch here? Really simple, customize it. And I will say most people that I've talked to tend to like the Market Watch just because it's pretty simple and easy to use. Now the hot sheet can be simple, but it's also a lot more variables involved here. You'll notice that you only get one to start with, one residential hot sheet, one multifamily, one lots and lands, and so forth. But when I go in and customize it, what I can do, I can have a total of 10 in here under hot sheets, and they all could be residential. They all could be cross property. They could be a mixture of residential and cross properties, but you can only have a maximum of 10 total. So that means when I go in and customize this, I'll be able to delete some of these property types that I don't use and replace it with another residential one or cross property. And you'll see why you might want to do that. So over here on my Market Watch, since I can only have one residential and I can only have one cross property, if you remember when I customized it, I had all three counties in here: Williamsburg, James City, and York there. Okay, so keep that in mind. So now when I come over to hot sheet, what I could do is come over and customize it. I'm going to start with residential. And then over here, I'm going to edit its criteria. So I've got residential highlighted, and I'm going to hit edit criteria. Once I do this, I get something similar to what I had before, but now I got some different types of changes here. And I also have days back here, and I also have, yeah, this looks like that's all I have extra, or in addition to what I had with the Market Watch. So here, I'm just going to keep this simple for now, and I'm going to say, well, since I can have multiple hot sheets, since Keith had said that I can have multiple hot sheets, I'm going to only have one for Williamsburg. And without me picking anything on here, if you don't pick anything under change type, you're going to get everything. So there's no need for you to go in and pick everything in here, because if you don't pick it, we'll just assume you don't care, and we'll give you everything in there, okay? So I'm just going to say Williamsburg only and save it. That's it. Now, once your hot sheet has been customized, you might want to rename it here just so that you know you've customized it, because if you don't rename it, you might forget, oh, wait, what was my criteria in there again? Was this Williamsburg, or is this York or James City County, or what? So with that one highlighted, you might want to come right over here and rename it. And I'm going to leave it res. In fact, I might shorten this to just res, add a dash, and I'm going to add Williamsburg. Okay, and I'm going to save it. And you know, when I highlighted it and I hit rename, look under below, it does kind of tell you what your criteria was. So it was letting me know that it's residential and it's the county city of Williamsburg. So then what I could do is, since I can have a total of 10 and I'm not there yet, I can add another one. And I'm going to add another residential one. And see, that's another reason why I renamed this, because this one's residential, but it's Williamsburg. Well, this one's residential, but with that one highlighted, I'm going to edit its criteria. And this one is just going to be James City County. And I'm going to hit save. So I'm kind of keeping it simple for now. I haven't added much else besides different locations. And then with residential picked, I'm going to rename this one. And you can see right here is James City County. So I'm going to rename this one to res James City County. Save it. And I don't like it down here. I like to move it up here. So with that one highlighted, I'm just going to use the move up button and just put those two together. And since I still don't have 10, I could add a third residential one. Save it. And this one, guess what I'm going to do this one for? Edit its criteria. This one will be for York. And then save it. So now on the hot sheets, I got 3 separate ones. One just for Williamsburg, one just for James City, and one just for, let me rename it here, York. Whereas the Market Watch, they were all together in one. York. Save it. And then let me move this one up. Yeah, it looks like that one dropped down there. So let me move that back up there and done. So now I've got 3, residential Williamsburg, James City, and York. And I'll just click on customize again. Okay, so that's all I did. I just had one residential, I edited this criteria and just said York, that's it. Nothing fancy about it, just save. Then I added another residential one and I renamed it James City, and its criteria is just James City County. And then Williamsburg, I added a residential, I edited its criteria, and this one's just the city of Williamsburg. That's it. Okay. Now, if I know right now I'm never going to use a multifamily one, that's just not my property type that I like to focus on. And since it's taking up space and I haven't configured it, I could, if I want to, is just delete it. And that would just free up space for something else. Same thing with lots and lands. I can just delete that one and rental. But you can leave them there too if you like. So that's all I've done so far. Hit done. So now whenever I use 24 hours, here when I click on Williamsburg, I'm only going to see the changes in Williamsburg, the entire city of Williamsburg. There's one new listing, one pending, and one sold. Okay. And you'll notice my type of changes, they're all together. Okay, remember on the Market Watch, I was only looking at new listings, I was only looking at pending, and I was only looking at solds or price changes. See, remember here, this was broken down separately. So there's the one new listing. There's 3 pendings, but remember I had 3 different areas in this one. So let me click on this one. And it looks like 2 of them for James City and 1's for Williamsburg. But see, but now I'm just focusing on just the pendings. Where here, I'm just focusing on Williamsburg, but the type of change. So that's where they kind of flip a little bit, kind of work a little differently. Here, you're looking at a specific type of change. Here, you're looking at a specific property type and maybe even location, like just Williamsburg, where here it was all 3 areas, but just the new listings. So they almost kind of complement each other a little bit and look at it in a different way. So here I'm just looking at pendings, but all 3 areas. Here I'm looking at all the types of changes, all within one, but in one specific location there. And then over here, I've still got the same options. But let me show you this session now. Let me show you this session. Now this session, remember, it's a timestamp. So it's going to timestamp it. So if I've never done this session, it's got to timestamp it somewhere. It's got to get its initial timestamp. So with this session, I'm going to click on Williamsburg. And then I've got the 3 matches, and look right here, it timestamped it as of 11:25 a.m. on the 12th. Okay, and I get 3 matches here. So if I log out, and in the demo this, I have to log out. So if I log out, and then let's say it's 2 or 3 days later, and let me log back in, let me find Williamsburg here. I have a different access going in than you guys do. So let's say it's 3 days later and log back in. Now, in reality, it's only been not even a minute, really. So if I use this session and I click on Williamsburg, how many changes have happened since my last timestamp, the last time I ran this? Well, if it was actually 3 days, you would go back 3 days until 11:25 a.m. on Monday. But it's still only 1 minute here. So when I click on it, guess how many new changes I'm going to see? Probably 0. See, it didn't find anything. So it went back to my timestamp, and it didn't find anything since the last time I logged in. It's only been 60 seconds, so that's probably to be expected. But if I wait and you see this at the end of the week and I run it again, you'll see just the stuff since the time I ran it. So hopefully that makes sense for you. And then customize or custom. So if I click on custom here, then I click on Williamsburg. Now I can pick my date to run back to. And if today's the 13th, let's go back to the 1st. See everything that's happened since the 1st. Then I run it. Well, wow, look at now these are all Williamsburg, so you can see how many back on markets, how many expired, how many new listings, how many pendings, how many price decreases, how many released. If I go to page 2, you can kind of see out there. So this is as of right here, April 1st. So to today, to this moment right there. So that's the custom option there. Now, what you could do, that's not complicated enough, which I think that was pretty easy, I think, on the Hotsheets. But if I go on and customize it, I could add another residential one. And then when I edit this one, instead of just saying Williamsburg, I could say Williamsburg and new listings. And maybe even back on market, because if it's back on the market, maybe it's kind of like a new listing. It's just back on the market again. It was off the market, now it's back on again. So I could lump those two into one hot sheet. But instead of all types of changes, it's just the back on market. So then if I rename this one, which I think you'd want to, I'm going to call it Res Williamsburg. And remember, your criteria is right below it, so it kind of confirms what you've got. And it's just new listings and back on market. So I'm going to call this one new/BOM for back on market. Okay. And then I can add another residential one. Add its criteria. And this is going to be a Williamsburg, but this one is just going to be price increase or decrease, price changes. And then edit the criteria. Oop, I'm sorry, I don't want to edit the criteria. But since I changed that one, I might want to rename it. This one here, I'll call it Williamsburg again. This is just price changes. See the two I got? Well, guess what I'm missing here? How about status changes? Amy, you said, can you customize your hot sheet for a neighborhood like Newtown or Kingsville? Absolutely, Amy. Absolutely. And I'll do that one next. So let me edit this one here. Oh, let's cancel this. No, I wanted to add a new one. So I got a new residential, edit its criteria. And this one's Williamsburg, but this is just status change. So if it changes status to expired or maybe leased, changes the pending, changes the release, changes the sold or sold non-MLS or coming soon. Well, I don't think it could change to coming soon, but anyways, I'll add it in there. So there it is. I'll rename it. And then in here, I will do this one status changes. Okay. So there, I've kind of done it like a market watch, if you will, just because I've broken it down to just types of changes here. It's still a hot sheet, and I still only have 10, but I used one of my 3 of my 10. Oh, I should have put Williamsburg in there, but oh well. So now, yeah, that's the entire Williamsburg with all status changes and stuff, where this is just back on markets for Williamsburg. This is just the price changes, increase or decrease. Well, there's none there. And since it's just a a smaller area instead of the entire MLS, you can see it's probably not a bad idea just to keep it as one big one here, just because I'm not getting hundreds or dozens of matches there, so it's kind of small. But I just want to kind of show you can break it down that way. So Amy, yes, a neighborhood, a Newtown or Kingsmill. So if I go into customize, I'm going to add. Now, Amy, is this just residential or probably all property types? In fact, I'm just going to say cross property. I'm going to say all property types here, just to make sure, that that I'm not missing anything here. Cross property. Okay, good, Amy. Thank you. So I'm going to go into cross property. I'm going to edit its criteria. And then I want neighborhood. So would that probably be under subdivision? Let's try here. New town. There we go. Now I got Newtown Residential, Newtown Woods, and Village Walk there. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. And you said Newtown. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. If I type in Newtown, I could, if I'm not really sure, and I've seen this in some other MLSs too, sometimes that encompasses everything, or I could just hold down a control and pick the ones that say Newtown. That's Newport, Newtown, and maybe even that one, just to make sure. Let's see if I can put this up a little bit and hit OK. But if Newtown was just good enough, then yeah, Amy, just stick with that. Hopefully you know your MLS better than I do. So so there it is. I'm just going to rename it now, just so I know that this is Newtown. So that's the other benefit of the hot sheet, is you can be specific to a certain neighborhood or a subdivision. And then one more, let's add another cross property. And then with cross property here, let's edit and let's do Kings Mill. Open this up. type in Kings Mill. There you go. And it's getting cut off, so let me hit OK. And hit save. And let's rename it. And by the way, if there's anyone else out there that have a similar question, let me know. Type it in real quick. Okay, so I got one for just Newtown. So now you can see I've got a lot of different options here to run. I can do Williamsburg, I can do James City County, I can do York, just Williamsburg. I can do just, so let me go back here. Let's do 7 days back for Newtown. And here's everything in the Newtown in the last 7 days. There's been 3 leased, some new properties, some price decreases, released and sold. Can you change them once you reach 10 and add a new one? You'd have to, Charlene, you'd have to delete one or so. And let me go back here. I just want to confirm that it is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I shouldn't be able to add any more. I have seen in some cases where it's been added more, so I just want to make sure. No, see, I cannot add more. So what I'd have to do here, Charlene, is if I really want another one, well, which one do I want to get rid of one? Well, here I can get rid of this generic cross-property one, sure. Once I do that, now I can add another one. So once I get to 10, I have to delete one to get rid of it, right? Oh, you're welcome, Charlene. Good question. And so here's Kingsmill, last 7 days. Here's the activity that's going on in Kingsmill out there. So Amy, I hope that helps you, and I think that was a great question, because I was just picking on bigger areas, bigger cities or counties, but here I can target it. Well, and that's the limitation of the Market Watch. That's why it keeps the Market Watch pretty simple, is because you can only do one residential. Well, here I can do multiple ones and kind of divide them a little bit there. Divide and conquer, as they say. Okay, that's really pretty much it. Any other? And remember, when I go to customize, and if I had one, remember, let me hit add. Remember, when I go in and edit it, I can always do the map. Okay, I can say, you know what, let's do a polygon, and here's my areas that I like to work in. Okay, here's my area, so I can even zoom in a little bit more, and maybe I didn't draw that map right. Now I can come in here and kind of fine tune it a little more. Okay, and get it just right, because the map is probably the most flexible and might be a little harder. I mean, if you're not used to drawing maps and stuff like that, but now you can just kind of overlap. And while you're in here drawing maps, just to let you know, up here that we do have this boundaries up here you can turn on. So that way I can turn on the counties here. So now as I zoom in, you can see what the county boundary lines are. So maybe this will help me, if I'm geographically challenged here. Can I just notice that? Look at this. Can I grab that shape anymore? That's interesting. Let's delete the shape. So now if I come in, draw it there. So I want York and James City and Williamsburg. Click. So maybe I just want just on the fringe around it there. And then click that to click the starting point to finish. So maybe that's what I want. I do want York, or most of York. I do want Williamsburg. I do want James City County, but maybe I'll do a little bit more. Could you show again what you clicked on to show boundaries? Oh, that's all right, sure. Yeah, right up here at the top. I can even change it to satellite view. That's right up here. Boundaries. Now, if it's in red, like zip code, you notice I can't turn on the zip code boundaries because it says zoom in. So I'm going to turn off the county. So if I zoom in a little bit more, then I could check. Nope, I still need to zoom in a little bit more. Now I can turn on the zip codes boundaries. There's my zip codes. And then I can draw my shapes. Okay. And remember, you can draw shapes on regular searches too, just not in the Hotsheet or the MarketWatch. It's just show it to you there too. Please do school district search, sure. Can you do it by high school? Well, Amy, you're going to have to, let's see, let me try here. Let's go back into customize. Let me highlight this residential one. I'm going to edit its criteria. Now you'll notice, first of all, I want to mention this. If you don't see every field in here, you could come down to the bottom and hit add under additional fields. You can always add more fields. So one way is I can go in here and type in school, and I can actually use the high school field. Now remember, this is only as good as what the listing agent types in for high school. So if I come down here, now I could just come in here and pick the school districts that I want, okay? But that's going based off of what the listing agent picked. You know, if it's actually in one and he made a mistake and it really should be in another one, it's only going to be, it's only going to get what the agent did. Which it depends on your area. It looks like it's a pick list, so it looks like it's much more accurate, because I know some MLSs where they just type it in. A lot of times they don't even type it in. They just say, like, see Board of Education. They don't really answer. So in your MLS, it might be a little better since there's a pick list there. But still, it might even be better to draw a map around the school district. But here's the problem. How accurate is the map shapes for school districts? So if I go up here, you notice I can do a school district here, but it's in red, so I have to zoom in. So let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's kind of focus on Williamsburg. You guys don't mind. Let's go up here. Now I'm zoomed in enough so that I can say Unified School District. And I'm just curious how it is. So it looks like it's done by county school districts. Okay. So I know in some MLSs, they broke it down by the actual high school, you know, so here's James City County Public Schools. Well, how many different high schools are within that county? Well, there might be several in there. So it looks like that's the only options you got here. We don't have specific high schools though. So what I could do though is turn on points of interest. Okay, I kind of did that kind of quick. See, I'm still under the boundaries here. Instead of using boundaries, I could do this. I could go to points of interest, but I have to zoom in. But if I come down here and I say education, yeah, I have to zoom in closer. But this is still not going to give me the boundary, okay? I still have to zoom in. And you'll notice I'm going to have to zoom in pretty close too. There we go. Now I can say education. I'm going to close that up, close that up. So right here, there is a school here. Let's see what this one is, Child Network. So I'm going to have to kind of dig around and find it. And now I know this is not the high school, but let's just pretend that's the high school there. What I could do then, once I do that, I could do a radius, kind of put a little dot there, just so I can see it. Let's see, when I zoom out, I'm going to lose it. So now as I zoom out, if that's the high school, I could go in and draw my own polygon around what I think is the school district, okay? But see, that's going to be the hard part for you guys. You're going to have to almost kind of know the school district, because it doesn't look like we actually have a boundary for your actual high schools. All we had was the school district one. Does that make sense? So that might be something you might just have to come in here and do your own shape like I just showed you there, but you're going to have to know it a little bit yourself. Otherwise, you might have to add or remove a field. And I added one called high school here. And then that way you can come in here and find the high school and pick it. And remember, you can also go back and let's see what other school options we have. Middle school, high school, elementary school. Okay. Didn't look like we had a district there. Yeah, an SC school district there. Okay. So very good question, Amy. Yeah, very good question. It's just like that layers thing on the map. I hit map and this up here. Yeah, I just didn't have that there. Any class on how to use the maps. Apparently I'm missing a lot. Yeah, I tell you, Charlene, the maps are pretty powerful. I love maps, so maybe I'm just zipping along this pretty fast here. I just love playing with the maps and stuff. But it's just going to take some time for you to zoom in. I'm just using I got a little scroll wheel on my mouse. I'm just scrolling in and out. That's all I'm doing. You could also use this here too, plus and minus, and move it around like that there too. And then your shapes there. But it's pretty powerful if you can draw shapes, because that way if agents, you know, as you go in and search, if they don't put it in the right subdivision, or they do a typo on their zip code, you know, a lot of times you're searching for a certain zip code or subdivision, but the listing agent put it in the wrong one or put it in the wrong zip code, you won't find it. If you draw the shape on the map, you will find it, as you know, as long as it's mapped correctly. So the map shape is really, drawing shapes on the map is really cool out there. But it does take practice, Charlotte. You're right. Anything else, anyone? Just remember the market watch is pretty simple. I think it's you can only have one of each here, but you can customize it. And just remember, if it says reset, you already have. Because if I hit reset now, it's going to go back, and now it's back to everything, all areas, not just those 3 counties or cities that I picked there. It's everything now. Cross property, same thing. If I hit reset, now it's back to the beginning. And you can also reset your hot sheets too. You can even go back to customize, and if you want to start over, right here, store system defaults. Are you sure? So you hit OK, it's right back to the beginning. So if you ever think you messed up, want to start over, you can. Okay. We'll also say underneath the help tab up here, help tab, we do have some training videos. We do have one on the hot sheets there you can watch. Okay. We have a lot of videos, you guys. If you ever get bored and don't know what to do, just watch one of these videos and learn something new. Okay. But we do have a video on hot sheets, and we do have training guides here. Here's about a 57-page quick start guide that you could, you don't have to print it all, but what you could do is just you know, download it and just print off 2 or 3 pages that you like. Everyone clear on this? Did I lose people? Did I go too fast? Need to show something again? Or everyone comfortable now creating your own market watch or hot sheet? Oh, well, thanks, Shirley. I try to be helpful, so good. I appreciate that. Okay, well, I will send this out. Thanks, Rebecca. I'm glad you was able to hear it, so that's great. Glad you're able to hear. I will email everyone later a link to the recording, and maybe even share it with your MLS and see if they'll post it if they want to. But remember, we have other webinars. I think, you know what? See, I don't have it posted on my news link here because you guys do. You guys have it under the news link for the recordings for the rest of the week. We got one tomorrow. I think we got one tomorrow and one Wednesday. So please check those out. And if you're not registered, pass the spread the word around. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, David. And thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time today, and hope you guys staying safe, and hopefully we can get past this situation we're in very soon. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.